Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast. You can find more episodes on any podcasting platform such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure to follow Spoiler Force Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch.
This is Mark Witten, and you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Set your heart ablaze.
This is a FlowGasm Beats production.
All right, so this is episode 105 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky. Thank you guys for tuning in. And this is the last episode for 2021. I thought, usually I try to do like a recap episode of my year, but because of Spider-Man, obviously this had to be talked about. It's been a little over a week now, so if you have not seen Spider-Man, get your ass into the theater and watch it. So we're going to just do spoilers like crazy, talk about everything from what we liked to what we disliked, and everything in between. So thank you guys. My guests this week are obviously former guests that's been on the podcast before. My cousin Michael, my boy Xeng, my boy Toua, and Daze Senpai as well. So make sure you guys check out the episodes that have them in the archives of Spoiler Force as well. But yeah, let's just get started, man. I guess we can all agree that we all enjoyed the latest Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah,
Definitely
Yep.
did.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. So, because I don't want to just be like, did y'all like Spider-Man? Like, of course we like Spider-Man. That's why we're talking about it. So, I guess we could just start off with this topic, man. What did you guys think of the movie when it came to just like expectations? Was it above and beyond what you guys thought, or was there anything that you guys thought that wasn't expected?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I had pretty big expectations for this. Just number one, just how hyped up it was. Obviously a lot of the what you call it, like hints and potential spoilers or whatnot. But this movie actually kind of went, for me at least, above and beyond that. I got the high expectations I already had of it, so it blew it out of the park for me. So
same.
Days. Oh, Saying you go. Sorry.
Same. I feel like it did kind of exceeded my expectations for the hype of it, because everybody know that Tobey and Andrew is gonna show up, so that was like really the main point or main focus that everybody wanted to see the movie. So I felt like they did a good job. Just threw in a couple more twists, but yeah, overall it was good.
I have to agree, honestly, they exceeded my expectations. There were a lot of moments of nostalgia, but at the same time, it's still, I don't know, it had that like new age feel, with Tom Holland being Spider-Man. I really like him as Spider-Man as a whole. So I don't know, it really showed those little moments where, he still has to go through a lot, but at the same time, like, he's already been through more than most people know. But I liked it a lot.
All right, and Toa, what was your thoughts on the Spider-Man movie? Is he frozen again?
I don't see him blinking. So
Yeah, I think he is, bro.
There we go. Is there something there? Yeah. So while we wait for Toa's response, yeah, I'll just go with what I thought as well. I thought the movie was, it did more than what I expected. Usually with big casting reveals or predictions with like Tom Holland, or not Tom Holland, but Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, which was expected. I went through like a rabbit hole on Reddit reading what fans theorized, and it was pretty close to what those theories were. But I guess I wasn't expecting for them to show up the way they did, like how casually it was for them to just show up. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. But overall, then this movie was above what I expected, and it was a great way to just connect all the this, like what Daze said, with the nostalgia and with all of the moments creating up to the climax of the movie. I thought it was good to do that for this Spider-Man movie.
Definitely.
All right, Toua, you alive now? Can let us know what your thoughts were on the expectations of Spider-Man. What was your thoughts on that? No, there's no audio.
Yeah.
His audio's down. I don't think he's mute. No, he's not mute. He should be good. No, still can't hear you. So, while Tua's fixing his mic, what was your guys? What were some things that you guys didn't expect from this movie though? Like, what did you? Or anything that took you by surprise at all?
Doc Ock becoming a good guy at the end.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. But I felt like it kind of makes sense because he died like a good guy, in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Because he kind of like destroyed his own creation pretty much. So I could see that, and I could see the connections now, but I just didn't see that coming in the movie.
For me, it was definitely Aunt May. When she
Aunt
passed.
Bay, Marissa Tomei.
Aunt Bay. I'm sorry, yeah, Tim, you ain't wrong. But no, yeah, just that whole. I mean, it's crazy because even after she got hit, I actually wanted to bring this up, and just one of the factors of like the huge emotional roller coaster that this movie was on. Like, after she gets hit and after Goblin leaves, she gets up and you're like, okay, she must be okay, and she's helping Peter up, and then that just your heart, you're like, okay, she's fine, good, but then it just that from left field took me down, bro.
Oh yeah, it did.
What about you, Daze? What was your was there anything that caught you by surprise?
Honestly, the post-credit scene with Venom,
Okay.
that threw me for a loop. Because I expected them to, be in cahoots with him somehow, but the way he was just there and then he disappears and there's still a piece of the symbiote on the little counter. Like, okay, well, obviously it's not going to be Tom Hardy in the next Venom,
Now that you
I don't
bring
know.
that up,
It made my mind go kind of wild. I'm like, what's to come?
yeah. Now that you bring that up too, though, like, I don't think Tom Holland can take on Tom Hardy. Though. That's not realistic.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's too damn big.
Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least for like scale size too. It's
Becoming, gosh.
He's a grown ass man. He's gonna like destroy Tom Holland. Yeah, that post credit scene did throw me off because like I think everyone was expecting to see like a Sinister Six show up instead of just the 5.
Mhm.
And so everyone was expecting a sixth villain to just pop up out of nowhere, and I think Venom showing up like that would have been a great like surprise or a cameo. That was a bit disappointing though, just to see that Tom Hardy showed up for a little bit and just left. Because like the post credits for Venom 2, like they show him being transported to the MCU.
Yeah.
I'm at least happy that he was in there though. So I guess with the whole like, Marvel being divided, that shit that kills everything to me.
Well, at least now we know that they're connected some way somehow. So that's a relief, I guess.
Yep.
What were you gonna say, Daisy? You were gonna bring up something?
No, he actually said what I was gonna say. How or you said it. How
my bad, bro.
Venom 2 at the end of the he said he wanted to see.
Yeah, so with all this, yeah, with
Freeze again.
with Sony and Disney sharing these rights for Spider-Man, I'm kind of glad that with this ending that they did, how they left it kind of just open-ended instead of just like giving a confirmed ending for Tom Holland. Kind of gives him room to play with like both Sony and the Disney universes for Marvel.
Right.
With Morbius coming up and what else is there? A possible Venom 3 and other MCU or other Marvel movies through Sony. I think it'd be great to see Tom Holland like jump in and out and see how he interacts with those villains.
Mhm.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been wanting to see,
Definitely.
they've been looking for like Peter Parker or Spider-Man references in the Venom movies. So I think that's definitely an Easter egg for all the fans to see that.
But now with since we're still on this topic of Venom, do you guys think that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, since he's still with that character is still with Sony, you think he's gonna have any interaction with Tom Hardy? Because that's like kind of a fan theory that's been going around as well.
I think that would be more suitable.
Right. I feel like
They
it might
bring
be
it
a
up.
possibility now, since like everybody wants Andrew Garfield Spider-Man back for one more movie. Like they might bring the two characters together for one movie,
Yeah.
some way, somehow. Yeah.
You have anything to add, Daze?
I can see that.
I was gonna add Andrew.
No, I could see
his,
that honestly because I've been reading a lot of different things about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I've been seeing a lot of people doing little forums and stuff like that right now for part 3. But I could see that, especially if they're not going to actually leave Venom in the same universe as Holland Spider.
Right.
Let's see. That's Toua. Add it back to the screen. Yeah, are you good now?
Can you hear me now?
Better, much better.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
My bad.
All right. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
we just
give us your thoughts. What was some? No. I want to hear your thoughts, dude. Give us some a brief, just like of your expectations and things that surprised you in Spider-Man.
Mhm. Yeah. So my thought of it was, I did thought that the expectation did live up to it, and then just very similar to what you guys were saying too, that nostalgic feeling of having Tobey Maguire back playing the role as Spider-Man. Because I remember I first saw him in like 2000, 2002, 2004, the first one. So just the nostalgic, and then just this just brings back that feeling of when you go watch it as the first time as a kid. So it's just good to see him.
And what was there anything that caught you off guard about the latest Spider-Man?
Caught me off guard. No, nothing caught me too much off guard. I didn't expect May to die though. That's probably the only thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, okay. What about Daredevil? That cameo was pretty big in that movie.
Bro. Oh my god, I was losing my shit.
That caught me off guard, honestly. Yeah.
I was happy.
I kind of saw a spoiler, unfortunately, for that. But I mean, but when you see him in character, when he catches the brick,
right?
And I think he said like, what did he say? Is like, how did you do that? It's like, I'm a good lawyer or something like that.
Yeah, I'm a good lawyer.
Yeah, because that's kind of like been the thing right now, or before too. Like when the Marvel stuff was happening on Netflix, like people were contemplating, is this part of the MCU or are they their own thing? I always felt like they were just not really accepted in MCU yet. Like they because they do reference like the Avengers first movie in there, but after that they don't really come together. So I think with Charlie Cox, and if you guys seen Hawkeye, the actor who plays Kingpin, like they're confirmed in these universes now. So I mean that means just bigger and better things. We're gonna have hopefully they allow the actor for John Bernthal to still be Punisher, because that's the one that I want to see
Oh yeah,
with the
Oh
MCU.
yeah.
for sure they will.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't, I don't, I didn't
Go ahead,
watch
Joe.
I don't watch Daredevil that much, so I don't know nothing about the superhero. But I did know it was him because just based on the glasses and the glasses, it kind of reminds me of that
Ben Affleck,
that
Daredevil.
what's the dude? Yeah, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Charlie Cox plays that character way better than Ben Affleck.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Ben
a
Affleck's
lot
better
of
as Batman, but
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Cox kills that role. Like, Charlie Cox is so good that I still think that he's a legit blind guy when he's not blind.
yeah, no, all the little nuances that he does is just so well in the whole Daredevil series.
Mhm.
And some people are like saying that this is kind of like a nod to the Ben Affleck one because Jon Favreau
Yeah.
was yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to this next topic, man. What were there any favorite characters that you guys had in this movie? Like, for me, Andrew Garfield stole the movie for me. From everything from his redemption to just coming back and still being Spider-Man, and the way how he just acted. Like, a lot of folks don't give him credit for his acting skills. He's actually an Oscar-nominated actor compared to Tobey and to Tom Holland, so he's pretty legit.
Yeah.
For me, it was definitely Willem Dafoe, man. Willem fucking Dafoe. Like he stole it. Like he was kind of like a huge backbone of the whole arc, and he carried it so well. Like how sinister he was. And also, if I can say another, is just it's probably a hot take because some people probably would disagree with me, but MJ.
Zendaya?
Yeah, Zendaya. Like I kind of liked the way she portrayed MJ. In the regard that, like, you know, the movie didn't feel campy, you know? Like, she actually played like kind of the shy high school, but like still, you know, romantically involved in everything, you know? And it kind of sold the like it wasn't cheesy in the regard of, like, you know, there's, I don't know, she had like a lot of nuances, you know, like even when they were on the call, and then the way they would kind of like self-consciously like flirt with each other. So it was very like that, to me, was a very good aspect of it.
Saying you can go next.
For me, it was Willem Dafoe as well, because he just played that character so good. Who were like, you believe that he was a good guy, but it turns out it was like Green Goblin the whole time, and just like his crazy eyes and his crazy laugh, like throughout the movie, it was just,
my goodness,
it was good. Like,
yeah,
it was freaky at the same time too, to be honest. So yeah, I think he was like probably the best character in the movie for me.
Okay.
And so you can go next.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Andrew Garfield as well, because the part where he caught Mary Jane and then he got Terry, and right when he saved her. Yeah, so that was one thing about Andrew Garfield that I like. Another thing I like is the development of like Tom Holland, and throughout the movie, because I feel like the first couple movies they show him like almost like a kid, like a high school kid, just kind of naive, but then throughout this one he's like know what it is to like lose somebody, to know the consequences of being a superhero, because this is like the first time that we've seen him actually wanted to kill somebody, and, you know, wanted to like having real anger, like wanted to kill somebody. Meanwhile, in like the first two, it was just like he was just a kid, just, you know, wanted to like be accepted by Iron Man or whatever. But, you know, they develop him into almost like like an adult, where, you know, every decision you make has like a consequences. So that's one thing I like about how they built his character.
Daze, you can go next.
Man, I hate to do it, but I gotta say Willem Dafoe too. From the time he went to the little shelter and he was sitting there talking to Aunt May, I'm like, okay, he's really looking within. He's like, all right, I want to change stuff. Like, next thing you know, he's pile driving Spider-Man into the ground. Like, yeah, he killed that role. I was really excited to see that.
Yeah, I think there was an interview that went around with Willem Dafoe saying like he didn't want to do this role unless there was action sequences to his character. And it makes sense though. I mean, like you can't just throw Goblin in there as a cameo or like, oh my God, there's Green Goblin. You know, he's one of the big bads for Spider-Man. You know, like how Joker is to Batman. Like if he's in there, you know they're gonna throw hands in there. But I wanted to add into what Toua was saying about like how Peter's development, like the scene where Tom Holland's like throwing hooks at Goblin and he wants to kill this dude. I thought that was so great to see like a character like Tom Holland who's naive and innocent go from like thinking that you can save everyone to realizing like there are just some bad motherfuckers out there like Green Goblin and they can't be saved, you know. But yeah, you know, during that scene, I was watching the movie with my mom on my third viewing. My mom's like, "Why is this Spider-Man so stupid?" You know, like Doctor Strange says, we forget that Tom Holland is a kid. His mindset is not like Iron Man or Doctor Strange or Captain America. This kid is acting off of his emotions, and so to him, he thinks that even if they're bad, they don't deserve to die. That's the only way he's thinking, you know, and. I really like that they brought this youthful side up for Spider-Man because when you see him compared to Peter or to Tobey and to Andrew's Spider-Man, who's experienced losses and you know they're older, you see like how much there's an experience gap between them, and I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was laughing because you reminded me of the part in the movie where I think it was MJ who said Peter, and then they all look.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Peter Parker, the one with the computer.
Sorry for it.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I know. Like it gets confusing too. Yeah, I forget that they're all Peter. Like they actually name them by their actual acting names.
Right. But let me just put it out there, man. Like Tom Holland Spider-Man was being a little bitch. Like it was being annoying. All the
at the beginning.
But you know, but that's he is. But then that's kind of what makes this like development, like Toua was saying, his development, that more drastic. And I think they did an amazing job with the delivery for that. So
right.
No, I agree. He was just like, come on, dude, just like.
And like Ricky said, like we forget that he's still a high school kid, and high school kids are stupid in general. So
I know.
Sorry, high schoolers.
Yeah.
Well, they are stupid though, because when you watch the movie with high schoolers, all they do is scream and yell. So yeah,
right.
Like high school was there in the movie, like we're in your movie theater.
No, you know, there's one part that just kind of like irritated me too, though, in this movie, like how he's trying to apply for college, and when Doctor Strange is like, you didn't consider to think that you could go to your college and argue for your spot in the school, like not just that, but why didn't Peter think that, you know, Doctor Strange, he literally has the name Doctor in his name. This dude's gone to school. So why didn't he just go to Doctor Strange for college advice?
or like get a reference.
Yeah. Like Doctor Strange has multiple. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
He's got multiple degrees. He's a neuroscientist. Like he's more than just a magician.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Happy must have a degree. There's and who else? There's like a bunch of other characters in there.
Bruce
Banner. You know, like there's so many other characters in there who could have helped Tom Holland with the college applications.
I mean, but like I laugh at that, but at the same time, like, you know, you can't say you haven't been there. We're just like, oh
no, yeah,
I didn't think of that.
like it's just more like hindsight though. Like yes,
Yeah,
if you were in Spider-Man's shoes and the whole world's on you, you of course you wouldn't consider thinking that because you just wanted like we said before, he acted on his emotions. He just wanted to get things done correctly.
Yeah, and he knew that everything that was happening was because of him, and he was like, you know, you get caught in a moment of desperation for the things that you truly care about. So then he just kind of like jumped the gun. He went from like 0 to 100 without even thinking about like, what else could I do?
Right.
I also got to just throw in some honorable mentions too for favorite characters. Jamie Foxx's Electro was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because they allowed him to be more himself in this movie versus like the goofy nerdy one in the Amazing Spider-Man. So like when they were in the forest and he was like, y'all just gonna look at me buck ass naked here in the woods, like it was. I felt like that was more Jamie Foxx than the actual character.
I think the hair gave him more swag or something.
Yeah, I liked how they allowed that change too, though. Like because how he transferred to the MCU universe, like he completely looked different, like from the color of his electricity to his energy to his look. I thought that's a great way to kind of like just physically just change him. Like okay, he's not going to be that blue one no more. He's he's going to be himself.
The actual like because even when like when he's powered up and he's shooting some of his lightning out, it takes the shape of his mask. Yeah. And I think that was a great nod. Yeah, they definitely did him justice. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, like what Ricky was saying that they allow him to be himself. Like when he was with Andrew Garfield, he was just like, no, I just thought you'd be black. Like he thought he was a black guy, but no, it was just a regular Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
They're leaving lots of doors open with this movie, man. I'm just saying that.
Did you guys have any honorable mentions as well? Like besides the characters you selected, like
they
anyone else?
They gave up an Easter egg too when Jamie Foxx.
What was that again?
Oh, I'm sorry. They even gave like a little Easter egg with that because Jamie Foxx mentioned. Like there has to be a black Spider-Man somewhere. First, I put him in the MCU, but they don't know whether or not to do it in this universe or a different universe.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you kind of felt it in the air, just like they're not saying it'll never happen, that type of deal. But honorable mention for me. Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. I was about to say, what about Ned? Ned, because you know how he was able to open up portals, and then in the movie, he mentioned something about his family having like superpower or something, or his grandma having like some kind of like superpower or something. So then I just thought that maybe he might play like a future sorcerer or something.
That we will touch up on that topic later towards the end.
Oh.
But I do want to say this though, when Doctor Strange told him that go see a physician, he was like just straight up roasted him. Like he literally just called him fat. Like go see a physician.
I was gonna say honorable mention for me was I have to say Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. I think he great job from the gambit of being like evil and being controlled by the tentacles, and then from like being able to go back and forth to helping, especially like when he kind of stabbed the was it Electro and Sandman in the back to kind of help Peter.
Oh yeah.
In the end, because he shows up and you think he's evil, but he's Anyways, I've always really liked him ever since I guess Spider-Man 2, when he became a villain, but he went out a hero because he like saved the city or whatever. So he's always had a soft spot for me for that. So, but I think he did a great job in this movie too.
Did y'all have anyone else you guys like to mention? Like any other favorite characters?
No, none for me.
Yeah. Not really.
Okay. So any other characters that you enjoyed in this movie?
No, not much. No, not much. Just besides Zendaya and Aunt May, and everything's good.
Okay.
hmm
So, what was your guys' thoughts on the when Tobey came on screen? Of course, the older crowd enjoyed his presence in the movie, but for me, I kind of was a little bit disappointed that they didn't allow him to interact with Green Goblin more. Like how I always felt like those two characters, like or at least those two actors, they deserved a screen time together where there was like some sort of challenge there, but not really.
Now that when you bring it up, I agree with you on that. Yeah, I don't want to put too much of my thoughts because it's exactly as you said. It's just like I think there was a great opportunity that was robbed there for because it was a movie that started it all. So not even just that, not even just for Spider-Man, but the whole bringing superhero movies to the big screen in such a great way. If it wasn't for Spider-Man, I don't think we would have any of the movies that we have nowadays. But for that reason, and just for the reason that it's the very first, at least to me, movies, they should have. I hate saying this because I love the movie so much, and I hate to say what I feel like they could have did better to critique it. But yeah, I think they could have definitely gave them a lot more chemistry in that regard.
I agree with you on this.
Yeah, I feel like they should have
because I kept having
better.
Daze, you can go first, and then saying,
go ahead.
give your thoughts.
No, go ahead. I'll go after. It's okay.
I feel like they should have introduced Tobey better.
Okay.
But that could be like a whole other topic too. But yeah, like Ricky said, I forgot all about it because we were so focused on Tom Holland's Spider-Man that we forgot it was Tobey and Willem Dafoe that really started it all. And like watching the movie and not having them interact with one another, kind of like really kind of sucked to be honest, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they so they kind of messed up on that part for a lot of fans.
Yeah, kind of dropped the ball on that because the whole time I was having flashbacks to number one where Tobey did the backflip, the glider killed the Goblin, and then Tobey really just sat there at the end and watched Tom Holland beat the Goblin to a pulp, and it's like that kind of should have been you, but whatever. I don't know. Good teaching moment still, though.
So, what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like the way they introduced, I think I told you guys this already, but the way they introduced Tobey Maguire was just kind of like boom, that's it. Like Ned opened up the portal and then he just showed up. I don't know when in street clothes, so I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting more of like a superhero entrance kind of, or like in the middle of a battle or something, like an epic entrance. But then it is what it is. But it was still good. But I just thought that maybe the main introduction could have been a little bit more dramatic or a little bit more like superhero entrance kind of. Yeah. But then I feel like it was just
casually walking in. Hi guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm Peter Parker.
Right.
Kind of made sense.
They kind of went like more of the like
it made sense
relief.
Go ahead, Daze.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. To me, it kind of like made sense because when you think about Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, it's like Tobey wasn't really like flashy. He wasn't the flashy type of Spider-Man. He wasn't like the grand entrance type. He was real like minimalistic for the most part, basic dude, like really nerdy dude. So in some ways, I feel like it kind of made sense, especially because like you saw him go through so much pain in 1, 2, and 3. So I don't know. I kind of liked it, but
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
I
think
agree with
to
you on
just
that.
go back to just what Ricky said. Like they should have like a more dialogue between Goblin and Tobey Maguire, because he was like the main villain in the first one. It's kind of like Goku and Frieza. Frieza will always be the first main bad guy. So going back to Goblin, the first main villain, you always gotta throw him back to have like some kind of.
Yeah, like even if it was just a little bit of shit talking, I would have been happy. Like Goblin calling Peter out on something stupid. Like they don't have to fight, but then if they just talk shit, I would have been happy.
Like kind of like one of those like you never change type of deal or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think the only thing we got was Toby was like, I've been working on this for a long time or something like that.
Oh, for
like,
the serum.
For the serum, yeah, to cure him. I think that's pretty much the only evidence that we had that those two were in the same universe. Great point on that, Ricky. I never really thought about that, but that's definitely, I agree.
Want a simpler way to record both video and audio podcasts? Then sign up with StreamYard. StreamYard is the perfect program to create podcasts, host live streams, and even do video calls. There are many tools to help you create and design your own personal studio. You can screen share, read live comments, and stream to multiple destinations such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also download your video and audio recordings after each session. Follow the link in the description, and once you sign up with the basic or pro plan, you'll earn a $10 credit to use for StreamYard. Do you want to start your own podcast? Then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast onto many platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout also offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and also support Spoiler Force Podcast. Happy podcasting. If you're into anime, manga, or anything that's from Japan, Otaku Detroit is the place for you. Located at 513 West, 11 Mile Road in Madison Heights, Michigan, you can find a variety of manga books, anime figures, collectibles, posters, snacks, and even authentic items from Japan. Stop on by to see store owner Matt and let him know Spoiler Force sent you.
I do want to bring up this topic as well. The scene where the Spider-Man all actually meet for the first time. At this point of the movie, it's right after Aunt May's death. Tom Holland's distraught.
Mm-hmm.
Both Tobey and Andrew Garfield jump down, and there's a line where Andrew Garfield's like, I know what you're going through, and Tom Holland snaps. He goes, "No, you don't. Like, you don't know what I'm going through, and you don't know how this feels." Like it. The nerd in me was like, bro, this guy knows exactly what you're going through. He's been there, both of these guys know your pain. But I get it. Again, Tom Holland's the youthful young Spider-Man. He's upset. But like, when they start sharing their pain together, and I kind of like this like humanization of superheroes. For myself, I've always liked when superheroes fought in their street clothes because it makes them more human versus them wearing the costume or like being flashy. But when they start breaking down and talking about their losses, I really enjoyed that, like those losses from those characters and the way how they acted, it still resonates to them now. Like where especially Andrew Garfield, man. Like we've all seen the Amazing Spider-Man 2, how he lost Gwen. The way how he acted, and he would just like, the whole dialogue, he's like, I lost her and she was my MJ and I can't forgive myself. And if you've seen the Amazing Spider-Man 2, they ended it off in a high note where you think Peter is like back to himself.
Mm-hmm.
And really after that, you hear him say like, I got bitter, I got rageful, I stopped pulling my punches, and I don't want you or Tom Holland to be like me. And so there's still a little bit of like of that grief in him, and I really liked small details like that.
I gotta say, man, that that part right there was probably one of the moments that like broke me the most. Like because I really liked Amazing Spider-Man 2, and you go through that emotional journey with him, and like as Ricky said, you feel like he's conquered it already, but it's just one thing that he constantly has to live with, and it kind of reminds you that even all the Spider-Man, like they're still they still feel the losses that they had, and that right there, when he said I stopped pulling my punches, it hit me like right in the heart.
I'm not gonna lie, I did tear up though when that part was brought up. I'm not gonna lie. This movie is one of the few superhero movies that made me tear up, and just this, like I said, man, how they humanize Spider-Man. I think that's why Spider-Man for me is one of my top heroes, because this dude's broke. He's been through so many losses and grief, pain. He's the most human superhero, at least to me, because I love Batman, but I'm not rich like Bruce Wayne, so I can't relate to Bruce Wayne. Right. But I could definitely relate to Spider-Man.
Yeah, for me, that scene on the roof was powerful because of the emotions. Like you can feel the emotions, especially from Andrew Garfield. Like, and for me, that hits home because like losing, like you could lose like a family member that's like not your mom or your dad. It sucks, right? But like a significant other is just like a whole nother level, even though like that's not blood related, but just the bond that you guys shared. And for him, like losing Gwen is just like very powerful for me, I guess, because I have a girlfriend of my own, and like my world would end if I lose my significant other, So I kind of like related to Andrew Garfield's character at that point, and I did tear up a little bit too. I'm not gonna lie, because like I said, I felt the emotions when he was like saying his lines in the movie.
Yeah, I think you guys touched on almost all the good point, like all the emotional aspect of it, which I definitely do agree. I do like that scene, like right when the two Spider-Man, when they got there and they showed them on like the top of that tower. They didn't show them right away, but it was dark, and you only see like the shadow of them, like the outline of them. So that, like, just the beginning of that scene, it sets the tone already, because it was dark, and they didn't show them right away. So I just thought that the tone of that scene right away, I knew that it was gonna be okay, like something like big or something emotional, that some kind of connection. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was touching on like what he said. It was very powerful because you couldn't see who it was, but at the same time, like you knew it was about to be a reunion, and you knew it was about to be something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, what were your guys' thoughts on? I guess for me, I didn't like how they did this, like how Aunt May was the one that delivered "with great power comes great responsibility," because I read all those Reddit theories, right? So I assumed that it was going to be Tom Holland, or not Tom, Tobey Maguire delivering that line. Tobey delivering that line to Tom Holland in some sort of death or like departure or something like that, because it does make sense that the most oldest or the wisest Spider-Man would be the one that tells Tom Holland, hey, with great power comes great responsibility, you need to grow up. And I felt like, for me, I just felt like that was a little bit robbed from me, because I was not expecting that from Aunt May. So what was your guys' thoughts on that?
I feel like it kind of made sense, because when you think about all of them, like, Tobey and Andrew Garfield both had somebody tell them that, and it stayed with them forever, like it wouldn't, I feel like it would still have like a good effect coming from Tobey, but at the same time, like we never saw like a Uncle Ben or anything like that from, in Tom Holland's universe. So it's like, I feel like he was supposed to have that left to him, just like the other Spider-Man. And they kind of, again, like guided him down that whole path with like having to deal with grief and all that. Because the only major death that Tom Holland has had to deal with was Iron Man, his mentor, somebody he was always trying to like show, like, I can do this, whatever. But I feel like that's something that's gonna stick with him for a long time because it was his Aunt May, you know.
I like that answer. Yeah, you killed it.
Yeah.
I can't respond to that. That's a good answer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree because
But
like
I
in
just yeah.
Tom Holland's like universe, we didn't have an Uncle Ben. It was always like Aunt May from the start. So it
Yeah.
would like I did understand that it came from her, but then like Ricky said, I wish it would have came from Tobey as well, because he is like the older Spider-Man, more knowledge, had experience in the field, I guess.
He's kind of like I guess you could call him like the father of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. But I kind of agree that I think the way that they played it. Yeah, I was thinking quite a bit about it, but like if you look at Andrew and if you look at Tobey, both of their moments came from when they did the wrong thing. They both let a killer go, or a villain go, and then the result of that action led to their Uncle Ben's dying. But in this case, it's kind of like the other side of that coin, where it's just that he did the right thing. He did what Aunt May asked him to do and what he felt was right. So it was kind of like the same story, kind of like in a different flavor, and I really appreciate how they went about it, because the other ones, the other Peters are regretting the actions that they did, where this one, Aunt May reaffirms him that what you did was right. And that's it, the scene was like so emotional. I forget her exact words, but I'll always call this movie like Tom Holland's like his rites of passage to becoming a Spider-Man, because they all go through this arc that teaches them the responsibility of being a superhero, of like making the right decisions, because you can do what others can't, so your actions reflect that much more in your responsibility. So I think it was I think they did it right, in my opinion. I think they couldn't have done it any better.
Going off what you said as well, like it goes back to the realization that you can't save everybody. No matter what you do, no matter what you try to do, no matter who you stop, like who you have in your corner, you still can't save everybody. It's another reason why I feel like they knocked it out of the park with that, because that is something that he has to accept and live with and deal with in order to become a better Spider-Man.
Word. Yep.
Yeah, I really liked how the last moments that Tom Holland had with Aunt May, like, where I don't know, like for me, because I've been through recent loss as well, and like when he's seen Aunt May on the floor, like then he was like, I'm sorry, you see him not wanting to leave, but he knows he has to go, and just the way how Tom Holland acted in that moment, man, that was so tear jerking to me, and like, and that's why like I will never say that Tom Holland is not a bad actor, because he is a phenomenal actor. Now, I do have my biases. To me, Tobey was always Spider-Man, but Tom Holland has his own uniqueness when it comes to being Peter as well. I love that when you see all three Peters together when they're making like their science experiments, they're all smart, but they're all like they have their own uniqueness of being dorky or being nerdy. Tobey Maguire's his Spider-Man is like very, very like Dave said, he's very minimal. He's very few words. He's very quiet. And then you have Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, who's very outgoing, very like talkative, and then Tom Holland, who's very, just very inexperienced when it comes to like seeing people or interacting with people. And so like I really enjoyed like they each have their own uniqueness of what makes Peter Parker, and they all three of them seeing them together in that scene, I thought it was great. And I do want to add this in as well, in that scene where Zendaya is comforting Tom Holland, and you see Andrew Garfield staring at them in the background. Holy shit, dude! I was like, man, why do they gotta play with us like that? We all know Andrew Garfield's going through some romantic shit right now, and like just seeing how like you can see just like he was low key, just very jealous, you know, and he never got to he'll never experience that again. Just little moments like that, man. That's what makes this. Honestly, I think that's what makes this movie so good. It's just like moments of each character, and you know, it does suck that it takes like this so many other movies to understand this one Spider-Man movie, but man, it's so good.
That scene was pretty like it got me too. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like it's something like Ricky said, like it's something that you want but you can never have anymore, you know. Like he could, like Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, like he still got his MJ, but like his love interest for us was Gwen. So losing Gwen, like he'll never have that anymore. That was pretty powerful too.
I'm airing out my laundry right now, but I can definitely relate to that, especially with coming out. I came out of a relationship in 20. Pretty much right when quarantine hit, and like, yeah, I'm happy being single and all that, but there are times where I see like couples doing like, especially around like the holidays and stuff like that, like they're doing like couples pictures and whatnot, and getting each other gifts and posting pictures of like, oh, this is what Bae got me, and I'm like, it's like, damn. It's like, you be kind of nice right now. I digress. But yeah, no, definitely felt that scene, just because, again, you know, going through, I'd say it again, but going through that journey that Andrew went on, you know, I think up until this moment, that was probably one of the most emotional parts, and to me at least, in this Spider-Verse, just losing Gwen, because you know, you think about it, all the superhero movies, they always save the damsel in distress, you know, and then this time it was yanked from us, and it really, really, really cut deep. That was like, I remember when that came, that was like the biggest like plot twists, but just going through that journey, it's just those same feels that you felt back then, they come back, and definitely feel them.
Yeah.
All right, so to move on to a more exciting moment instead of just being in the feels, what was your guys' thoughts on the final battle, man? Like when they fought at the Statue of Liberty, like seeing the Spider-Man work together and fighting Sandman, Lizard, and Electro. Michael, we'll start with you. That way we have to know what order.
I'm going first all the time. I feel greedy because like I'm really adamant because I really love this movie. So I always jumped the gun before, but I feel like I don't want to. Feel free to interject though when I'm going about it. But no, I think it was great because seeing them, like, you know, they're not used to fight. The other two Spider-Men aren't used to fighting alongside with anyone else, but Tom Holland is, you know. So again, the whole like, I fought with the Avengers. That's awesome. Who's that? That part.
Is that a band?
Me. Yeah. But yeah, no, seeing them like kind of come together and start working together. And you know, it was great. Seeing them. Sorry, my phone thinks I'm saying okay Google and win again, but no, it was I want to take a small segue because before we get to there, I think the fight at the apartment was unfreaking believable. Like the screen work, the camera work, seeing just how strong Goblin is, just throwing him through the floors and just, you know, terrorizing Spider-Man. Going off of that and seeing how strong he comes back in this one kind of definitely shows a lot of resolve. But I did want to pay respect to that fight. I hope we're gonna get into that later, and I just jumped the gun.
No, I guess we could talk about that too. Because the my favorite part in that fight was when Tom Holland's like sitting on top of Willem Dafoe and he's like hitting him in the face, and Dafoe was just like laughing at him. Yeah, he's
That
like
bro,
hitting him and
yeah.
hitting him, and like Dafoe's just like, I'm not hurt.
That but if anything, that just shows. Oh my god, I really can't say this enough. Willem
Shows how
Dafoe.
crazy he is, honestly.
Yeah, and it shows how deranged and like how messed up he is that he's laughing, but he's laughing because he's seeing Spider-Man like become what he wants him to become. He wants to see Spider-Man lose himself. If you think back to Spider-Man 1, his goal was to get Spider-Man to join him because they're both like outcasted by the world, So seeing that side come out of him, thanks for bringing that up. That's on you, Ricky. But that the end of the fight is definitely where it got heavy, I'm lingering, but all in all, good fight sequence. I like how, and I think we talked about this on one of the calls that we did when we watched the trailer, but how they digitally edited out the other Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And when you finally see them in there, you just
I mean, that was just so obvious, though, man.
Yeah.
Like after the whole Civil War thing, where like it's none of us expected Spider-Man to be in Civil War, but then like when you see him in the movie version, you see where he stands along Iron Man's team. So now we know they're digitally removing these characters so that we don't expect them.
Yep. So yeah, that's what I had to say about that.
Saying, did you have anything to add on to that? I guess we could go about the apartment fight and then talk about the New York Statue of Liberty fight.
Yeah, the apartment fight with Goblin was just amazing. The way how like they went through like so many floors, like Tom Holland being tackled through like 4 floors. That was like, it was crazy. It was pretty good too. Like it was a pretty good camera work and everything. But then the fight at the statue, I felt like I wasn't really impressed because I know what's gonna happen already. Like they're gonna be the villains, So I wasn't really too excited for it. I just want to see how it was gonna play out more, pretty much. But then the fight with Goblin at the end was more badass because you actually see the rage in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, putting it all out on Goblin, and then Goblin's just over here like Ricky said, like laughing about it, not really caring about it. So all in all, the statue fight, it was okay for me. It was more like the fight with Goblin that was the best.
And so,
yeah, I think you guys are like what I about to say is like just very similar to you guys. The fight at like the apartment, the house, whatever. It was good. Like they show like almost like the insanity, like how insane Goblin is. Almost reminds me of like almost like Heath Ledger in a way when it comes to like Joker. How he was just sitting there just laughing and like showing his insanity. So that just kind of reminds me of that. But then the last fight scene where they're all fighting together. Yeah, I thought that it was just okay in my opinion. They're just obviously they're just gonna like because like what Tom Holland said, they're so used to like just working alone that just he said just rely on your spider tingle and just work together. So I mean I didn't thought too much of the last fight scene, but it was good though.
And Daze?
I honestly loved the fight at the apartment. Like it felt like a climax type of fight. I have nothing bad to say about that, honestly. 'Cause I love how the Goblin actually like revealed himself and everything like that. I like how in those moments too, Jamie Foxx revealed himself too. Like you kept getting a sense where it's like, okay, he's liking this idea of more power, but at the same time, like the fight at the statue, it made me mad how fast they took him out too.
Yeah.
When Doc Ock came in, he just came in, put some shit on his chest, and then that was it. That was kind of anticlimactic to me. Like I was expecting a little bit more. Like I wanted to see it drag out just a little bit more. But that's really my only complaint. I did like how, even though Tom Holland was kind of lacking in experience, towards the end, like he was still kind of giving direction and showing like, he can still become a leader. Like there were people that were more experienced for the most part in doing what he did to some degree, but at the same time, like, you know, he worked with the Avengers. They didn't have anything close to what he was doing. He was in space doing shit. Any villain that either of them fought was nothing compared to Thanos, you know. So
Yeah.
I did like that kind of
Right.
development where it showed like he does have the potential to be a leader, because, you know, Spider-Man does end up becoming like a leader in the Avengers for the most part, and depending on like what time area you're looking at, you know. So I kind of like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great point you brought up, Days. You know, how they talk about like what villains they fought, you know, and Tom Holland's like, yeah, I fought an alien on Earth and in space, you know, like he's done things that the other two hasn't done, and then like how Andrew Garfield's saying like, you know, I only fought a guy in a rhinoceros suit, you know. And then I love the little, you know, the little I guess moment where Peter's like, no, don't say that. You're amazing. You know, say that with me. You're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just comparing villains, and like Michael brought it before. You know, when they're tangled together and they don't know how to work together yet, like it just shows like how much Tom Holland can grow as a Spider-Man. You know, learning from Tony, learning from Doctor Strange, and seeing how other team members work together. I like that he used that experience to teach Tobey and Andrew, like, you know, just work together. Let's communicate. Let's get this done. And then you see how they all kind of like align together, where they start saying like, yeah, let's take one out one at a time, and then that way we're not like crossing webs and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that those are great moments, you know. And I do want to say like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Bully Maguire memes, where like, when you hear like a moment of where Tobey's like, how is this helping? You know, like I love that moment, you know, where he yells at Tom Holland like just say your shit, you know, let's get this done. I thought that was a great like memeable moment right there. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I completely left Bully Maguire out.
like Ricky, like I was telling you in the group chat, like they missed out on the part where Tobey could have said, "Oh, I got some dirt in my eyes" after he beat the Sandman. You know?
Yeah, because it's just
that was the perfect moment, but they missed out on that. Oh my god.
Two things I want to add is number one, I really like the parallel that Toua made with Ledger and Goblin, because that was, you know, that I couldn't agree with that more. Secondly, the whole like, okay, this scene, if I could sum all this whole scene up with one word, it's like fan service and like Easter eggs, because like even the scene when like Tobey's like rolling his back out, he's like, oh, my back. As a nod to Spider-Man 2. It's not a lot of people in the movie got that. I felt like I was one of the only in the theater that I was in got that, but I was one of the few that did.
I gave out a little chuckle to myself, like, I got it. Yeah.
Or like the part where Willem Dafoe's like, you know, I'm something of a scientist myself. They had to throw that in there, you know. Oh my god!
Right.
You know, okay. So my coworkers brought. That's so funny. My coworkers brought that up, and they're like, "Okay, you go back to Spider-Man 1, and like, Harry introduces Peter to his dad, and he's like, you know, he's a science whiz, and he's like, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself, and he's like, how do you not know he's a scientist? He runs Oscorp. It's like, apparently they have a huge presence there. It's like Elon Musk coming out and saying, you know, I'm somewhat of a innovator myself. I'm like, we know who you are, bro. But
okay,
it's
so
cheesy.
yeah.
Okay.
So I have one more topic to discuss before we go to our theories. So there's one thing I did want to talk about was Doctor Strange's presence in this movie. Did you guys feel like he was, I guess, underutilized or like shown less of because of his powers? Because, you know, I like the part where he knocks Peter into the astral world, and like how his spider senses are automatically fighting off Doctor Strange. I thought that was great. But I just felt like, man, Doctor Strange should have been able to take on Peter a lot easier than what they did in the movie.
Yeah.
I would agree. He probably could have. But I'm as much as to say that I'm also equally not upset with the way they went about doing it. I think any more would have robbed Spider-Man of the limelight, because Doctor Strange is super powerful. And if he were to interfere with a little more, I think it would have thrown the story off a little bit. But I agree, he could have.
Yeah, I feel like the scenes that he was in the movie like a good amount. Because if he was in it more, like he could have like stopped the whole thing from the start, you know. So I kind of like it, but then I was just thinking like, so he couldn't do nothing because Peter took away his rings. So that just shows how weak he is in a sense too. So like pretty much like what the fuck is that? You know, like that's your power. Like you losing your rings and you can't do your magic no more. Like come on, Doctor Strange. But yeah, I felt like he was in the movie a good amount, to be honest. If he was in it more, than the story wouldn't have to the end, you know.
So you can go
Yeah,
next.
I agree. I agree the same thing. I feel like the movie was purposely based on. I feel like the movie is purposely based on like they purposely like are not portray Doctor Strange as much. Just they purposely did that just to concentrate more on Spider-Man. And then I think they purposely like not portray Doctor Strange as much, so that we could focus him on on his next movie. Almost like just giving us like a tease, just to lead on to his upcoming movie. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure, because I feel like they put the ball on a tee and just set it up for the multiverse of madness for real. Because even like when Doctor Strange says like, "I forget you're a kid," so he's still showing that restraint, that type of thing when they are sitting there fighting and stuff like that. But at the same time, like they said, like if they put too much focus on him, I feel like the whole movie would have been different for real. But like when he actually came back towards the end and he was, patching the holes up in the universe and all that, I feel like that was a good setup all in all, because some fucked up shit is gonna happen in his movie, and at the same time, like all this shit that's happening, it's not his stuff to deal with, it's Peter's stuff to deal with too. So
Yeah.
this is some dumb kid shit. I don't care about this. You're trying to do this shit for your friends so they can get into college, so you can get into college. I don't care about that. Like, but that just goes to show like
Yeah.
the consequences that he's going to have to deal with because of all this, because he tried to give his part and help as much as he could, when really he probably shouldn't have even done that, because all that could have been avoided. But
Yeah,
I really like that answer, Daze. Yeah, that's a good segue to
Right.
this last
So it's
topic.
kind of like
and-
he's just cleaning up Spider-Man's mess.
yeah,
Yeah.
but still has consequences himself to deal with
Yeah.
that we haven't seen yet.
Mhm.
Yeah, I want to segue this to to our last topic here, or part of the podcast here, because that's a great way to end it, because a lot of this movie it was about choices, whether you make a good or bad choice. Like we've all been saying throughout this episode, that there's consequences to each of our actions, and of course Doctor Strange is going to have to face his own consequences. I mean, even I forgot who's the guy that he was training with in part one. I keep forgetting his name.
Guy.
The guy that left Strange in
Yeah.
part one.
Yeah.
When he left the group, he told Strange too. He said, there's consequences to your actions, and messing with time, as they previewed in Doctor Strange 1. How Strange was good at using the time stone. You mess with time, then you mess with a lot of other things, and I think that's a great way to set up Doctor Strange's movie. But there's one
Mortal.
theory. Yeah,
By the way, sorry.
yeah, there you go. But there's Toll brought up Ned earlier in this episode. I wanted to touch up on this theory first. Apparently the rumors are that Ned is supposed to be Hobgoblin, or some sort of villain to Peter. And with everyone forgetting Peter, I thought this part was important, like how Ned was telling him, like, I promise that I'm not going to be a villain to you, or I'm not going to kill you. And because he hears that from Tobey saying, like, my best friend tried to kill me and he died in my arms. And I think that's a great foreshadow in a way where, like, I think with everyone forgetting Peter, I'm thinking that Peter will remember that promise, but not Ned. And Ned's going to be, if Ned becomes a villain, then that's going to be the next, if for Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, that's probably going to be the villain and the hero battle that Tom Holland's going to have to face. And I think that's it's a great way to set up another villain. And if you've seen the actor who plays Ned, he dropped a lot of weight compared to how he looks like in this movie versus now. So I'm assuming that he is going to be either Hobgoblin or another Spider-Man villain.
Right. Yeah. No, I 100% on board with that.
Kind of throws me off though, because like the fact that he could open portals, obviously he's not going to remember that, but like if he ends up being Hobgoblin or something like that, like where else does that lead,
Right.
Because he did it like, first couple times it wasn't effortless, but it happened pretty fast for him. Like, he had his handful of mess ups, but he got a couple portals open and he did what he wanted to do for the most part, So that kind of confuses me. Like, if he does become like a Hobgoblin type of character or something like that, like, what about all that just happened too,
Yeah.
Probably like.
No, go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so since you guys think about, or you guys were saying that, I'm thinking that maybe it could be related to like Doctor Strange's movie now. Like, maybe something can go wrong with his movie, or like be related with Ned that will like probably change him to become a villain or some sort in the future.
What if Ned interacted with the dark Doctor Strange?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like he trained type shit. Like, I don't know, just random thought.
Yeah, just throw out your theories out there because we don't know what's going to happen. So and we might say something that might actually happen.
Right, exactly.
Here's where I'm gonna need those who follow the comics a little more to step in. But I remember in the series, the animated series, Hobgoblin was able to open portals, was he not?
I think I've read something where he does have like some sort of magic, but I don't know too much about that character myself. I just I'm thinking it leads to Hobgoblin because of the friendship between Ned and Peter, and Harry becomes Green Goblin. So
right.
Maybe in this universe, instead of being Harry, it's Ned.
I just don't know if that was a subtle hint or not, because I just remember there's some scenes in the animated series when Hobgoblin just shows up through some kind of like wormhole or some kind of portal. So I was wondering, like, it just kind of hit me now. Damn, that might have been some kind of foreshadowing. I'm not sure.
Right.
That was good.
But the one that I'm the theory I'm interested in seeing is, and again, if you're more well versed in the comic canon, please chime in. But isn't there an iteration of Venom that is Flash, right?
Yeah, Flash.
Yeah, Flash Thompson does become a host, but I don't like this Flash Thompson. Man. Like,
I don't either.
I don't like it. Like, how are you gonna get cyberbullied, man? What the hell?
No, this is the kind of bully that like you like. I don't know.
I would. Okay,
it's like, really, I guess kids bullying you.
We're not teenagers anymore, so of course our bullying days are different from the kids being bullied now. But me, if I put myself in Peter Parker's shoes, I would not let myself get bullied by a kid online or like. What did he call Peter Parker in the first one? Like I forgot the name already, but come on, like Flash Thompson, like this kid is not intimidating, man. I would smack this kid if he tried to bully me.
Yeah,
you think about.
I guess you got to put it in times of modern day. I mean, in modern day, I get it because it's more about psychological bullying than actually like physical bullying. But you're right. No, he's annoying as hell, especially in this movie too. when he's like trying to sell his book, I'm like,
capitalize on everything.
No, when he came to the donut shop saying that he got to MIT, I was like, man, shut the fuck up. Please stop. You're ruining the scene.
Like when you think of the differences between like Tobey Maguire's Flash,
Oh yeah.
what he was going through, dude was sitting there throwing punches at him, all type of stuff, and then the same with Andrew Garfield's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really like this Flash either, but I could see him becoming some type of villain,
Right.
something along those lines, just because of like the power and like his type of personality. You know, there's no true like confidence. Everything is kind of like for show or just trying to get ahead or whatever else. There's nothing like genuine there for real. You know, even when he's being nice, it's still like there's something there that you want. Like talking about he wanted Peter to swing him to school for a month. Like, he's giving you a week. Like, act like you're his friend. Like, just take that and be cool with it.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more.
He's not a bully, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. This Flash is a.
No, I never liked when they announced this casting. I never liked it, but I get it. I get what they're going with. With modern day, like the times today for what kids are going through. I get it, but it just us in our 20s or later 20s, like we sound like a bunch of old heads now. But it's like, come on, man, like you really about to get bullied by this kid? Like, come on. But no, there's one we talked a little bit about like the whole Sony and Disney thing. And of course, there are fans petitioning for Amazing Spider-Man 3. Do you think that that's going to be connected with Tom Holland as well?
Shit. I would like to see Miles Morales get introduced through Andrew Garfield. Because, like in the Into the Spider-Verse movie, Peter Parker died, that type of thing. Like, he was getting older, that type of thing. Like, it was almost like a passing of the torch moment. Mm-hmm. Tom Holland is too young for that to happen, especially with everything that's already gone on. They're already showing that, all right, he can be a leader. He has that potential. He can be a lot bigger than what he is now. He's still only in high school. I can definitely see Andrew Garfield getting another movie, but I would like to see Miles Morales get introduced through him.
If I can piggyback off of that real quick, because I now that you mentioned that, I wouldn't want anything else but that, because even like in the Spider-Verse, the Peter Parker, the older one, kind of looks like Andrew Garfield though.
Low key,
because they're older Spider-Man. They're obviously you could tell that Andrew put on a little grown up weight. But that I would love to see that though. I love that theory.
And when you think about it too, like he doesn't at this point, he already lost Gwen, and it was he tried his best, but it was because of him. Like he wasn't good enough to save her at that point. He wasn't quick enough. He doesn't really have much else to lose at this point either. Yeah. So that's kind of what I think of in that.
It's a proper moment for like you said, to pass the torch on. So I that's Marvel. Just saying, or Sony. Hey, if you're listening, this man right here.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, because
right.
I feel like Disney's theme of their movies is too like kid friendly. So I feel like it won't work introducing Miles into the Disney universe.
Well, Sony said they want to do the Miles Morales one.
Oh yeah,
they just didn't know which universe to put them in.
Right.
Yeah.
We all know Sony's gonna get greedy with the Spider-Man rights.
Oh yeah.
After this,
with the games, after Spider-Verse, and then Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. It's a Part 1 of 2. Like, come on, man. Like, Sony's they're gonna grub off of Spider-Man's merchandise.
Just make it good, please. Just don't be like a cash grab.
Yeah, like I was telling my brothers, like they were asking me, like, "Oh, is that the end of Spider-Man?" I was like, "No, like that's their money maker. Like they're gonna make more, like anything with Spider-Man, that they're gonna like definitely now moving forward, anything with Spider-Man in it is gonna make money."
Mm-hmm.
And they're even like with Morbius, like Morbius was all in Spider-Man, and then even to piggyback off that, Blade.
Yep.
Like they're bringing Blade in, even though Blade was already in the MCU. Like the new adaptation, I feel like they can still do something with that as well.
Mhm.
Personally, I've always wanted to see Deadpool and Spider-Man at some point together because I feel like it would be hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
they
you know,
will.
now that you bring that up, Days, excuse me, I literally saw a post like an hour before we podcast where they're saying that Disney is still working on a rated R
Yeah.
Deadpool, and
Yeah.
you know, because it's Ryan Reynolds, I hope to God they throw in Spider-Man, whether it's Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland, and shit, even throw in Charlie Cox in there, man. Like let Deadpool roll around with these other heroes and just
Oh my God.
because it's Ryan Reynolds, they just let him do his own thing, man.
It would be hilarious. It would be
Yeah.
hilarious.
I just when you said Charlie Cox, I want nothing more than to see this man more on the big screen because
Yes.
man,
Oh, yeah.
like if it, I think was it Toua who said you haven't seen Daredevil yet, bro. It's
Watch the show.
it's amazing.
He
It's
is
like,
Daredevil for real.
yeah.
Just like
Like,
Tony Stark is Iron, or Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Iron
yeah,
Man.
he is Daredevil for sure.
Yeah, and it's not an easy watch either. It'll kind of take you into some like dark places,
Yes.
like just to like
season
kind of
one
experience
is
it.
season one is just the growth of Daredevil, but when you hit season two and when Punisher's in there, oh my god, dude, that interaction between John Bernthal and Charlie Cox when they're on the rooftop talking about like life and death.
Bro, like I well when I watch certain things, I like take some of the quotes. So there's some quotes that I took from season 2 from John Bernthal. Man, they hit so deep in those. So
you
I
hit them
gotta say
and they
it.
get back up. I hit them and they stay down. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I met this man. I met this man at Comic-Con. He
I'm
is
so jealous of you,
nothing
bro.
like that. He is nothing like that in person. So when I spoke to him, I was like, John, how are you so angry in your roles? Like as Shane, as as Punisher. He's like, yeah, I just do it, man. I just do it. And like he was so mellow. So to see someone who's like so mellow like that be such a ferocious character like that, it's insane how well this guy's acting is.
Yeah. The part where he was what was in like the jail when he was just fighting person after person.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what is going? I had to rewind it like 4 times. Like, did he really just do all this to get through here? Yeah, that jack is crazy.
Like, yeah, no, this man. It's so weird watching him in here. Then I watched Baby Driver, and he's in there too. It's just like it's so different seeing him like not as a killer.
But yeah, to move on to continue on with these theories, are there any other theories that you guys have or that you guys think may happen for even for the future of MCU? Like because No Way Home is like a catalyst to what's going to happen to Multiverse of Madness, because Multiverse of Madness is pretty much the Avengers level of movie that's going to come out. We could possibly see X-Men, possibly see Fantastic Four, Blade's coming in, so what do you guys think? Days, we'll start with you.
Honestly, I don't know. Because, like, they left so many doors open where it's just like the possibilities are truly endless. I've never seen a Marvel movie that left this many doors open for real, and they touch base on so many different things. Like, I really don't know. I'd be shocked if they don't bring Venom back in Tom Holland's universe, or like, because for the most part, Tom Hardy's Venom, he's got that anti-hero feel, but I feel like he should be introduced in Tom Holland's universe as like a straight villain for real.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Like, it was nice, there was a lot of comedic relief and things like that. Like, I liked Venom 1 and 2, but I feel like there has to be something a little bit more like, all right, I could actually lose my life here. I could actually like get fucked up. Like, Venom is huge too, so it's not about to be no easy feat fighting Venom off. Like the Spider-Man 3 Venom, I was so disappointed with that. It's a regular.
Eric Foreman. That's
we don't talk about that.
Eric Foreman.
That was terrible with what they did with that. And then like Tom Hardy's Venom, I feel like, okay, now it's time for something a little bit more hardened, something a little bit more like ferocious. That's honestly what I want to see.
Man, I'm telling you, Dylan, if you're listening.
Anyone else want to give their thoughts before we wrap things up here? Any last predictions?
No, go ahead.
Like they said, like there's so many possibilities now. Like with like the multiverse, like crossing over. You see like more for Morbius. You see Falcon, or is it Falcon? Yeah, Falcon. And then you see,
Vulture.
Oh, Vulture. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Vulture.
yeah.
And then
Sam Wilson's not in this one.
My bad. Yeah, you see
Clarence.
Vulture. You see Vulture, and then you see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in the background. So like that movie is gonna be crazy. I think like we're just gonna watch it to see like what universe it's gonna be in. And then yeah, the possibilities are endless. But I just want to say, I hope they bring Haley Steinfeld's Hawkeye into one of these movies, man. Cause yeah, her and the new Black Widow.
Oh yeah, yep.
Together again in the movie.
Florence Poe. I think I say her last name, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
The thing that was mentioned with Ned too, low-key got me really excited. How you said like in the old animated version, the Goblin was doing magic. Like that's a really great point. That has my mind just going crazy. Honestly, because I could see that. I can see that being introduced, especially with him forgetting everything. He was just sitting in the little donut shop, like nothing happened, like just going about his business. So you never really know what's gonna happen to him soon.
I'll be honest. In that scene, I was afraid to see like if Ned and like MJ were like
together. Yeah.
No, I thought the same thing too.
He was gonna see that. He's gonna lose.
Please don't do it.
Yo, look at him. Now, like, wow.
But that would also set up a really good plot for like a villain arc.
Yeah.
It was the same thing like with Harry because Harry was dating
exactly
Toby, so like that would kind of be like the same type of deal.
Yeah.
I was thinking that like if that became a love triangle between them, that's also a segue to introduce Black Cat for Spider-Man.
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
Yeah,
because I didn't realize until Ricky brought it to my attention that like Felicia Hardy was in
she was in Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's lots of like doors are open. Like I was speaking with another cousin earlier, and we were laughing. Like Spider-Man gets all these girls, but not Peter Parker.
Ain't that how it is though? I guess.
But yeah, there's lots of like they said, lots of opportunities, man. So, did you have anything you wanted to add on as well before we wrap up?
No, not much. I'm not like a big comic book nerd, so I don't know much about any other like prediction possibility. I don't think I might. Maybe I'm thinking Ned might be one of those portal, like he might be like another Wong, like the person that works with Doctor Strange and open up those portals. That's just what I think he might be. So that's
Okay. I do want to add one more thing. Is now that you brought up Wong, how is it that Wong just like knows there's disasters and just avoids everything? This guy just like walked out on everything. Endgame,
leave me out of it.
Right, Infinity War, he walked out. This one, he walked. He's like, I don't want nothing to do with this. He just leaves. So man, like he's for being the new Sorcerer Supreme. This guy really just avoids everything.
Don't give a shit.
I mean, it can't, maybe. I mean, maybe there's more going on that he's dealing with that that we don't see on screen yet. So maybe potentially
too busy recruiting Shang-Chi. That's why.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, y'all want to hear a hilarious story? Okay, so I was talking to my nephew's wife, right? So I told her that Fantastic Four is part of Marvel, and that Chris Evans? Yeah, Chris Evans. He played the Human Torch for the first Fantastic Four movies, and he was like, oh, so she was like, oh, so no wonder that's why he gave up his shield because he's gonna go back and play the Human Torch. I was like, no. I was like, no, that is not why he gave up his shield. When she told me that, I was like, no, girl, like that.
Go watch.
You're just thinking
Go
too
watch the
much, you
movies.
know.
I hope that one day though, like if because now that Disney's acquired Fox, I hope they do like tease that with the little fan service there, where
I'm
you
pretty
see
sure they
Chris
will.
Evans in both the Human Torch and the Captain America, as well as Killmonger. You know,
Right.
another multiverse of Killmonger seeing him as Human Torch and being Killmonger. So I think I hope they do some sort of tease of that. But you know, thank you fellas for being on this episode, man. I absolutely loved hearing your guys' thoughts on Spider-Man. And for those who are listening and watching, if you have not seen this movie yet, man, please do. I've watched it 3 times. It is worth every single watch in honor of each Spider-Man. So yeah, you know, to me, I you know, there are, you know, was it perfect? No, but overall this was a complete fan service, and I think that's what made this movie so great. And I absolutely enjoyed everything, and especially this conversation with you guys. So thank you for making time to being on this podcast. Shout out to my buddy T. He couldn't make it on this episode tonight. He was sick. And shout out to Orion as well. Orion, I really was looking forward to seeing Orion be on this episode. But hopefully I can have him on another episode soon. But yeah, thank you, Michael, saying 12 days. You know, thank you guys for this. I appreciate this so much. And this is a great way to end the year as well.
Yes, thanks for having us, man.
No problem.
All right, so that's it, you guys. This is episode 105. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe
Happy
as well.
holidays.
And yes, happy holidays, happy post Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Happy New Year as well. And as well, if you guys don't know, Daze is also a rapper as well. So please check out Daze's music as well. Yeah, you know, just thank you guys, man. I feel like I'm being Tom Holland right now. You know, thank you. You know, virtual hugs to you guys. Yeah, thank you guys. You know, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so take care of you guys. Take care of you guys.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you have any guest recommendations, comments, questions, concerns, or criticism, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com or message me online on any of my social media platforms.